The Silent Whistle in Ashburton, the pub name that says it all. It's across the road from the old station, which hasn't heard a steam locomotive in more than 50 years. In the 1840s, one plan would have seen the Exeter to Plymouth main line pass through here, but it took the coastal route instead, and Ashburton had to wait until 1872 for its railway connection. This is the station today, still with its Brunel-style wooden train shed. It's now a car repair shop. The 9-mile-long line from here to Totnes closed to passengers in November 1958. After goods traffic stopped 4 years later, the preservationists moved in, and for a few years in the 60s and 70s Ashburton station was alive again, as these old photographs show. The fledgling Dart Valley Railway operated here before it had to give up the section to Buckfast-Leigh to accommodate the new A38. Along from the station is the goods shed, which is the only listed building on the site. In the early 19th century, the towns of Ashburton and Buckfast-Leigh were important centres for the wool trade, and as railways expanded, business owners here began to lobby for a connection to the network. In 1845, a bill for a branch line from Ashburton to Newton Abbot received royal assent, but the plan was dropped a few years later because the promoters failed to raise enough money. 3 years after that, an Act of Parliament was passed for a line along here, which connected Ashburton to Totnes along the Ashburn and Dart River valleys, but it too foundered, only to be revived in the 1860s. Work was very slow, and the line didn't open until the 1st of May 1872 and became part of the Great Western Railway 4 years later. This is the site of the branch line today. It's a footpath called Bolivar's Way, after the name the locals gave the branch line trains in GWR days. This is where the branch ran under the road, near what is now Pear Tree Junction. The single-track railway was built to Brunel's broad gauge and converted to standard gauge in 1892. The route from here through to Buckfast-Leigh has disappeared under the A38 dual carriageway, which was completed in 1973. This is where the railway crossed the River Dart into Buckfast-Leigh station. It's now the home of the Dart Valley Railway's successor, the South Devon Railway, which operates heritage trains to Totnes. From the footbridge, which originally stood at Keynsham near Bristol, we get a good view of the station and the yard today. In the early 1960s, a few years after the line closed to passengers, a group of businessmen came up with a plan to reopen it as a steam-operated heritage line. On the 2nd of October 1965, the first rolling stock arrived, 2 Great Western locomotives and 4 auto-trailers. Dr. Beeching, whose report closed so many branch lines, came here to reopen this one on the 21st of May 1969. Soon after the train moves out of Buckfast-Leigh, we pass a siding, opened in 1875 to serve the Balcomore mine. That was situated to the west of the branch towards Rattery. Ore was transported to the siding by way of a tramway and a roped incline. The mine and the siding finally closed in 1938. The route chosen for the branch was alongside the River Dart, where in the 1790s there was an abortive attempt to build a canal. Past the new signal box at Bishop's Bridge and the passing place, we move into Staverton Station. And here you can see GWR pannier tank 6412 arriving. It hauled the first passenger train on the preserved line in April 1969. There were never many passengers on the line. Most of the revenue came from goods such as coal, wool, cider and agricultural items. There's a level crossing at Staverton, and the signal box that operates it is an original, and it had to be rescued from the local vicar's garden during preservation. After leaving Staverton, the train passes along the Royal Mile, so called because royal trains used to be parked here for the night if the king was on a visit to the West Country. Continuing alongside the River Dart, we reached Totnes Riverside Station. Work started here in the mid-1970s on a siding. Now there's a station here. It was built by volunteers using a canopy from Axbridge, station buildings from Toller in Dorset, and a hut, this one here, the corrugated hut, from Bovey Tracy. This is a new station, and in Great Western and BR days, branch line trains terminated here at Totnes Mainline Station. This was quite unusual because it didn't have a bay platform for the branch line trains, so services from Ashburton had to slot in between mainline trains on the up platform. This led to poor connections. In fact, between 1985 and 1988, Dart Valley trains used Totnes Mainline Station, but the money taken at the booking office simply didn't cover the costs. This is the route of a branch line that ran from the east end of Totnes Station down to the quay. It's now a footpath from Totnes Riverside to the mainline station. The quay line crossed over a stream here. The remains of the bridge can still be seen. The branch was 3/4 of a mile long and opened in November 1873. It was used for goods traffic only. It ran along the front of these new houses in Borough Park Road and then past the surgery and Dewsons. It crossed the A385 just west of Brutus Bridge and then followed the river through what is now Morrison's car park. At first the branch could only be worked by horses, but this rule was changed and steam locomotives were allowed from September 1874 as far as the end of 4 Street here. There was a level crossing here, and from this point onwards wagons had to be horse-drawn as steam was banned. The quay branch then ran along the plains and New Walk, servicing the warehouses. Only one passenger train is ever thought to have used the branch, and that was back in September 1962. In 2018, sections of the original track were discovered during work to install new floodgates. The branch ended here at Marsh Quay opposite the island. It closed in June 1965, although a private siding survived for a further 2.5 years, and today nothing is left of this historic line.